Hey, and welcome. We are three families who come together to help each other grow in our faith, family, homesteading, and whatever else life throws our way. Join us on this journey as we sow and grow together. Spoiler alert, we're going to talk about Santa Claus, so if your kids are in the room and you don't want them to hear this, pause and watch later. But also, we want to say that we're going to talk about our own personal opinions. These are our personal thoughts. They're our experiences in our lives and how we choose to do things in our families. And there's a lot of different ways to handle things, and we're not saying that this is the best or what everyone should do, but just giving our thoughts on it. So the first question is, how do you handle Santa Claus in your house? So we'll start with Talarico.
All right, we have extras with us.
Which ones?
Talarico 2.0.
Oh, that's the Talarico.
The better version, the newer version.
So in our household, Santa Claus was only stockings, and everything else was from us. So, and then our rule of thumb was just the minute they asked, we were very honest with them.
We struggled at first with that because I had such issues with Santa Claus, and she didn't. She wanted to make it all from Santa, and I was like, absolutely not. So I think that was our compromise. That was our compromise.
Yeah.
So, we don't have children.
Do you try to make Mason believe that Santa
Every day it's a struggle. He's like, I know you're lying. So, no.
The way we've talked about it before was that we were going to just raise our children and kind of play along with it, but if they ask, we're just going to tell them the truth.
We don't want it to be a thing that later on they become traumatized by the idea that Santa Claus isn't real. I mean, a lot of the stories you hear growing up, it's like, oh, this kid finds out that Santa isn't real, and he has a whole meltdown. It's like, okay, well, to avoid that situation, don't lie to them. I mean, you go to school and there are other kids that don't believe in it, like the tooth fairy and stuff like that, but if it comes to a point where I have to be like, listen, buddy, we're going to take a step back from that because other kids can believe in it, but we don't. So, don't want to make that the sticking point of Christmas.
When our kids were really little, I mean, we still have some that are, but when they were like really little, we still went ahead and did the whole Santa thing. But as soon as our oldest kind of started to come to the realization, he was like 6, then it's just like we were just kind of done at that point. And I think part of it too was the way that he realized, because we were having a scriptural conversation about how God is all powerful and God is all present and all of this stuff, and it was like coming up close to Christmas time. And then, so my brain wasn't connecting that he was going to be thinking about Santa, but he was thinking about Santa. And I just kind of saw the dominoes fall into place in his brain, and he's like, so wait, is Santa Claus not real if God is the only one who can do these things? And it's like, at that point, I don't want to be like, oh no, Santa can totally do the same things as God. Like, no. So yeah, we just told the truth after that.
There's a part of me that really wanted to play it out like the Tim Allen Santa Claus. And like, he fell off the roof and nobody put on the coat. He's not real anymore.
Can we go see it? The coat?
Yeah, we never really, I mean, we've read stories, books about with Santa Claus in it. They see Santa if we were walking through the mall, but it never really came up that he was real. We never, like, presents have always been, who are they from? So you can tell them thank you when you open a present, you know. But it hasn't really, of course ours are the youngest, so kind of tying it in though, I want to hear about everyone's personal childhood experiences of, did your parents tell you that Santa was real, or did they say that he was not? And when you found out, how did that go? And we'll start over here.
So mine was, we were raised with Santa. Always said Santa, but mine was definitely traumatic on the way I found out that Santa wasn't real. My older brother had me snoop to find out what presents he had. I was probably about 6. And when I was snooping for his presents, I saw one of my presents. And my mom found out that I had snooped for my brother. And so she took back all of his presents and got him completely different things. And then the one present of mine that I saw, she put in the stocking. So that's kind of how I found out that Santa wasn't real. So I the whole when they asked how, I wanted to be very open with them because I didn't want them finding out some crazy way like that. So now you.
I knew it all along.
Oh,
wow. Mine was, I don't remember exactly when, so I don't know if it was a drug out scenario because I have a little sister and whatnot. So I don't know if they kept at it for a while and I just kept hearing it. And we had a friend who would come over who would be dressed as Santa all the time and they played it like he was a real one. I don't remember when I was told, but when I did find out, it was very traumatic for me because that was the first time I realized that it was, to me, my heart, it was an open lie. And I'm like, so I started questioning everything. Are these even my real parents? Did they still, what else did they lie about? So I had a lot of things. I just went to my bedroom and just sat there and went over a long list of what else they could have lied at. And I'm like, I don't know if I can trust them anymore. So that was traumatic for me. That's why I was so much against, because I'm like, if we're supposed to disciple our sons and disciple our children, what is the point where they start questioning, is God real? You say he's real, but you also said Santa was real. So I really struggle with that myself.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Therapy session with Alize.
Yeah.
So, I don't think mine was ever traumatic. I do remember being told that he wasn't real by my mom. I think I was in middle school. When I was actually confronted with the truth, because I refused for so long because I had seen so many movies. It's like, oh, when you lose the Christmas spirit is when Christmas is dead. So you have to believe. So I forced myself to believe in it up until middle school, and then everyone made fun of me because they're like, you're a little bit old to believe in Santa Claus. And I'm like, that's because he is real. You're a little naive to believe that he's not real. That's crazy to me. So, and then my mom kind of sat me down and was like, listen, you are too old to believe in Santa. And I'm like, fair enough. But throughout my childhood, my Nana definitely fed into that because most of my Christmases were based around gifts. And it was always because my mom grew up in a really bad household. So she was like, whatever I never had as a child, I'm going to give you growing up. So all of, we had tons of thousands of presents under the tree. But it would be so piled high. But, half of them would be from my Nana because my Nana got a lot of stuff from discounts throughout the year. And she would always label them from Santa. And my mom would be like, it's either from me or it's from Santa. So it didn't matter if it was from anybody else. My Nana would label it as Santa. So, and then once I got into middle school, it stopped getting labeled, and I was like, oh, this one's from Santa. He just forgot to label it. But, yeah, I was in middle school when I was confronted with the truth.
How old was I?
You were probably about 5 or 6 when you first asked me.
5 or 6, okay. I went to my parents and said,
I remember it. I'm like, this is all you. I'm walking away. And I did. I walked away. I'm like, I'm not going to stand here and lie to him. You can lie to him.
I went to them and asked.
Reminds me of my childhood.
I went to them and asked them if Santa was real, and Mom sat me down, and it was really cool to me anyway. It wasn't quite as traumatic, but she sat me down and was like, listen, this is a tradition that we always do, and it's for the younger kids. And then in my brain it clicked that I'm like, I'm not a younger kid, I'm an older kid because I'm in on the secret. So yeah, it was cool for me to find out Santa wasn't real.
So
He was being a gentleman.
mine, I was raised by my grandparents, and I think part of it was a nostalgia kind of thing for them. And it became an untold we didn't talk about it. Even after I realized that Santa's not real, it was not anything that was ever discussed. But all of our presents were from Santa. But at some point you start realizing, ooh, Santa's writing is just like Grandma's. Or, you know, we didn't just leave cookies out for Santa. We left out carrots and sugar for the reindeer. But it's in the house. You telling me that all the reindeer came in the house and there's absolutely nothing all over the carpet? Like, you know, so it's just like all these kind of small things that add up. But I was probably, I don't know, 10 or 11, Elijah's age probably, when I was like, yeah, it's not real. But until I was 16 or 17, everything was still from Santa.
So I was also right around 10 or 11. And it's like, I had asked my parents before that because other kids at school were, you know, saying that Santa wasn't real. And so I had asked them, and I get it from the parent perspective. They just wanted to prolong the magic and all of that because our Christmases were really centered around the gifts and Santa and playing it up like my dad would go on our roof and jingle bells and like all the stuff. It was going to take all the enjoyment for them out of it. And so they just told me like, no, the kids at school are wrong. He's definitely real. And so finally I was 10 or 11 before they finally were like, yeah, he's not. And it was another like crushing, you guys lied to me that whole time. And then I looked silly at school because I was arguing with all of my friends saying that he was real.
300 plus students can't possibly be wrong at the same time.
Right.
They're the wrong ones, not me.
So yeah, that was how that went.
So I was probably like 6 or 7, and you know, kind of just starts. You're like, this is okay. This is not real, and like I still kind of went along with mom and dad because they were like really excited about like leaving notes out and all this like cookies and all this stuff. But like you're like, okay, yeah, it's fun, and then like when I'm like 10 or 11, now the kids are living with us, my nephews and my niece, and I'm like laying on the couch, and Dad's like, "Get up, we gotta get presents for the kids." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, that's how that went. Yeah. He's like, "We gotta go bring all the stuff in from Santa while they're asleep." I'm like, "All right."
From Santa.
Yeah.
So
How did that make you feel?
I was like, "Finally, I don't have to worry about this anymore."
stop playing along with
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah, so it's pretty lackluster, but that's it.
Our family didn't. All the presents were labeled from who they were from, and we were very calm after having visited his family for Christmas. And everybody the presents were passed out, and then there's this mass chaos of like paper flying everywhere. I'm like, because in our house we calmly took turns, and you had to look at who the present was from and be excited about it, and you'd open it and you'd say thank you so much for that present, and then it was the next person's turn, and it was like this really savor the moment kind of thing. We didn't have necessarily like piles of presents. We had a decent amount as kids, but we never really thought that Santa was real. I'm curious if my sister ever actually thought about it, because she was a little more sentimental about that kind of stuff. The stockings were the only thing that they would put little things in the night before, and it was all, if they labeled it was from Santa. It was just, but it was kind of a fun thing. We knew that, we read stories about Santa. We saw him at the mall like the kids do now, and, it's not that we didn't know what Santa was, but Mom did have to talk to us about when we were a little confused that some friends, they're talking like Santa's real, and Mom had to be like, well, don't ruin it for them. Play along. Some people think it's really real, just part of the fun for them, and but I don't feel like it ever really detracted from the magic of Christmas or the fun of it, not thinking it was real. We still left cookies, knowing that my dad went up and wrote us a note in his handwriting, saying thank you and whatever goofiness he would say. And Shannon was always real big on leaving out cookies and some milk and maybe eggnog, because Dad liked that too. We never really, so it wasn't ever just this traumatic. We were just waiting on all of the friends our age to catch up with realizing that it's a nice story and it's a fun tradition, but it wasn't real. My next question for everyone is, those of you who have kids or things that you plan to do when you do have kids, how do you make Christmas still have that magic even after they don't believe in Santa? Or what kind of things do you do to make it just a really extra special time, even if they're not listening for jingle bells on the roof or whatever?
We one of the things when we sat down and talked to each of our kids as they would ask the questions was we also learned about the real St. Nicholas. So that was a big thing that we would do and talk about that. I think a lot of ours was just like time in the Word, and really we enjoy Christmas season. Like, we're big into decorations. We love our decorations. We do a lot of Christmas movies and family time. And then we also have a getaway that we vamoose from the public, from Signal, and we just isolate ourselves off the grid and like do puzzles. I mean, there's just a lot of quality time, cook food together and everything. So we do a lot of that kind of stuff. Did I just answer for our whole section?
Yeah, you do fine.
Oh. You guys, is there certain?
Well, we had discussed when we have future children, what that is going to look like for Christmas, but we wanted to very much keep it around like the before Christmas actually comes up, because we also don't want to make it about just the gifts, because yes, you get presents on Christmas, but we spend time with family, and we have fun, and we do games, and we eat food, and we just enjoy each other's company. So we already started when we first started dating. My mom has had this tradition since I was a kid that we do a gingerbread house building contest like a week before Christmas, and then we let it sit and harden until Christmas, and then we destroy it. But recent years we eat it because it's a waste. So, but yeah, that's one of our big fun ones that we like to do now.
Just in general, we're centering it, of course, around gifts because we love gifts, but I'm centering it around like food gathering, just being able to hang out with people. That's not it.
I was going to ask, I know I've heard each one of you, different ones say something about that they wanted to prolong, or they were worried that the magic would be gone. It kind of started making me stop and think about what was the magic when I was a kid after I found out. Was the magic really gone, or do I have other memories of it? And my memories really was just sled riding for hours on end, the bonfires in the middle just to keep you warm, hunting with Dad, There's a lot of different, so I think that's where it was still magical to me, just my memories of that.
Yeah, I think that was one of our things with like the magic was that quality time, the attentiveness. And I think I feel like I'm biased, but that we've done pretty well with that. So
I mean, I haven't been in the family for long, but Christmas be popping.
It's okay.
it's just okay.
We usually try to make everything. We do the same thing with like birthdays too, but very experiential. So like, just we'll go looking at Christmas lights, and we'll make a big thing.
Sometimes
we do it
even like a road trip.
A road trip. Kids will, all pajamas, and we get hot chocolate, and we buy donuts, and we do this big trip, and just listen to Christmas carols, and the kids sing in the car, maybe for hours at a time. And, but go and just enjoy the time. We do gingerbread houses a lot of times and make it kind of like a contest. And usually they don't make it all the way through before chowing down on them. And just fun things that we do throughout the entire time, throughout the entire season.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like you guys were talking about. We still do the gifts, but obviously de-emphasizing the gifts, that's not the whole thing that we're looking forward to the entire season. And instead, it's just like there's a cozy glow around the season of family and togetherness and creating memories.
Cozy glow. It's a Hallmark movie. But I think to go back to what you guys were talking about, for me growing up, after realizing the magic was I got to see family that I didn't see really the rest of the year and spend time with them. And, just the experiences that we had kept that magic alive. It wasn't necessarily, I believe this certain thing, so it's all magical. No, it's just magical because, one, it's that time of year and you get to see family and you get to do all of these extra things and, you know, kind of things that you may take for granted as you get a little bit older.
That's what we love about when we leave and do the getaway, which you guys have all joined us with that, is we love the isolation and just that true, it just feels like true quality time. There's not even distractions of phones and internet, nothing. I mean, it's just true quality time that we get to spend.
And we have the littlest kids. I feel like it's the easiest. Honestly, we took our middle child's 4, and I took him to the doctor for an ear infection. He got a sticker and said it was the best day of his life. So it's just not really hard to make anything magical right now. We just take things really kind of slow. I like the slowing down because Christmas especially can start to get like really, I don't know, frantic and hectic and all the things. And so we've just really tried to slow it down. We the past couple years, we have bought a real Christmas tree with roots where you can afterwards plant it. But we get it in the living room and then the kids are like, there's a tree in the living room. You know, this big exciting thing. It's so cool. And then the next day I will have put like lights on it. And then, there's a tree with lights on the living room. And then, you know, we'll make some ornaments, or we'll string up some popcorn and stuff like that. So it's not like, I don't know, when I was growing up, decorating for Christmas was a big day. Like, usually like the day or two after Thanksgiving, you bring out all the stuff, and then you spend so long like that putting all the, of course, by the time we're older, and we had made Christmas ornaments several a year, so you've taken out all like broken looking like pictures we drew and hanging it on the tree and hiding the weird stuff in the back, and you know, it was a whole thing. But we just kind of take it really slow. And then every little bit that we add is just kind of magical to them, and they get so excited. And yeah, just a lot of quality time. Also, we have focused this past year, as the boys were getting old enough to think about gifts and stuff like that. Because before it was like, paper, you know, box. They were just, you know, they didn't really, coming up to Christmas, they weren't really thinking, it's Christmas, I'm going to be getting presents, because they were too little to really. Now that they are, last year we really focused on helping them make gifts for all the different people in our family. It was just little things like, I had them help me make these the things you put in the microwave with rice in them, and you put them on your neck, like neck warmers. So they got to like help me with the sewing machine, and we were like, this pattern, let's pick a pattern of fabric that you think Grandma would really like, and that Shannon would really like. And we were just trying to be really thoughtful, and they were so excited like getting towards Christmas to give them the presents that they made. I was like, okay, we need to do this more, because their focus was more on what they were giving to their family than the fact that they were even going to be getting toys. And I could see that being a challenge going forward, because Zeke is very, I don't know, since his 6th birthday, he's been like, so for my next birthday, I think I'm going to ask for this. And I'm like, let's not just, you know. So he can tend to be a little material and money, and already I can see we're going to have to really focus on making it gifts and receiving not the focus of Christmas.
One of the things that I think fed into, wanting to create the memories and the family time, it was just a little thing that my grandma did. It was winter time, and we were walking home from the skating rink to get to our house, and she knew we were coming. So as soon as we got in there was like hot cocoa made for us, and just like that attentiveness and that quality time of her being like, my grandkids are coming, I'm going to make this because they're going to be cold, and I want them to have everything. And it just that, it was simple. It was just hot cocoa. But I think that was one of the things that really made me think of like experiences, because that really stuck with me.
I think I remember more of the getting together and getting Christmas decorations out and all that kind of stuff is what I remember more than even Christmas morning.
There were only like 2 that I distinctly remember. I cried Christmas morning when I was like 11 because I got a doll, and it was like this really pretty doll. It had pink hair. It looked like a cat, and it was a singer. And I had never cried ever receiving anything. I was a very easily pleased child, but I was like, oh, this is so awesome. This one, I looked at it and I was like, and I just started sobbing, and my mom looked at me and was like, what what is wrong with you? I'm like, she's so pretty. And yeah.
I only have like 2 really massive events centered around like early Christmas memories, and that's when we would wake up early in the morning and the boys would huddle in my bedroom just because we weren't allowed out to go open the presents yet because it was 4 a.m, and we would just wait there and play until you guys told us to come downstairs and open our presents. And same thing with Maddie and Sydney when they would be over. Same concept happened, but in their room instead of mine. But the other one is sledding. Sledding was one of our favorite things to do, and we would race each other in different times, but we'd always end it on like the one last time that we would always go. We would all line up in a train and all hold on to each other, and then pile random kids that we'd find and put them on us as well. We'd all ride down in this huge monstrosity of a child train and crash.
Yeah. I have a few videos of that.
I know.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
So my earliest, and the only reason that I remember this is because it's on video. But when I was younger, we went to a church that put on like a big Christmas thing every year, like the singing Christmas tree thing. Mm-hmm. And 1991, I was 5 years old. There's a video that has the entire children's church group singing some sort of jingle song. They all have bells, and we're all supposed to jingle, jingle, jingle. Everybody else is, and I'm sitting there. Jingle. Jingle.
Ass
I look like I hated my entire life. The other, we used to go sledding a lot when I was a kid. I do remember that. But then I remember 1998 because I got the original PlayStation that year. Wow. And I was one of those kids that was like, opened it and screaming and spinning on the floor and like all the things.
Yeah, you said spitting on the floor.
You were foaming at the mouth.
I probably was.
When I was really little, like 4, I think my grandpa passed away, and so we started having my grandma come and stay the night at our house for Christmas. So she wasn't alone on Christmas morning, and it's really sweet to look back and have those memories of her there every single Christmas morning with us.
Mine was pretty uneventful at Christmas time. Like, it was good. We had good times, but I just don't remember much of it. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I have like more overall memories of just coming down the stairs and we'd get something to drink or wait on everybody to come down and start. Me and my sister loved to just distribute. We'd like read the name tag and see who got it, and we'd distribute. That was like we felt really important doing that. So
we ripped our presents open.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Once you figured out whose was whose.
Yeah.
We would. I'd throw them. I'm like, this isn't mine. Someone catch.
Yeah.
And I'd throw it, and we'd pile it in our own areas, and we'd be like, okay, 3, 2, 1, and we'd race until it was wrapping paper everywhere.
I do remember. I'm starting to hear all the yells, the jingling. Which one of you two had the bells on the roof? They did do that once, and I remember thinking the guy who came in that had the Santa costume on, I'm looking at him, I'm listening to him, I'm like, wow, he sounds really Italian, just like my grandpa. And then but I remember also every year going out and cutting the tree down, Christmas tree down with Dad, and dragging it for how long through the woods.
Oh,
yeah, I
remember.
Yeah, you remember
going to Pam's every year.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because they still do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that.
Is it your aunt?
No, she's my cousin.
Cousin?
Yeah.
They have a nice big place, and they would have...
They always have a nice house.
Oh.
So everybody goes there for Christmas, and they do, like, you can hear people cussing each other because they do that exchange event where, like, one person can steal the gift. So they're, like, cussing, they're laughing, but they're, like, cussing each other.
Because whoever gets the lottery tickets, everyone
they always
steals
want
it.
the lottery tickets.
But it wasn't, like, on Christmas Day, but it was around Christmas time. As we prepare for a new Christmas season this year, we'd love to hear from you. What are some Christmas season memories that you find really meaningful? Feel free to share in the comments below, and thanks for joining us as we sew and grow together.
Ow. Gosh, you're gonna make my nose red.
Personal opinions and experiences. Already.
I know that this recording there is So I started chuckling, thinking I wanted to yell, "He's not real!" and then he caught me giggling over your quiet.
It's not.
And we. Emergency button. Okay.
Behind Santa's son. Maybe they stole me from Santa.
I just don't even know.